It is May 21st, graduation morning at West Point.
God.
We're at Stony Lonesome Gate.
The smart people are at Stony Lonesome.
And the famous Perry family is with us right over here, Ellen and Tom. And we need to add them to the video because this is the start of the graduation video. Okay? We came from the south, guys. We came from the southern exit. There was like no cars. It was unbelievable. So we were down at the motel, West Point Motel. Yeah, Thayer Gate had a line of cars all the way back at our hotel. So I left and went against all the cars. I got yelled at the whole time. And then I came up from the southern one. Okay, see you guys. There we go. Love you, Mom. There we go. Fog on the mountain for graduation. There we go. Nice going. Hey. Morning. Morning. Look at this. Freaking fog on the mountain. Okay. With the Perrys in front of us. Diana, it's 7:30 in the morning. We're here. Okay, so Claire. Isn't this amazing? Here we are, we're seated in our seats. Charlene and Wendell Bradshaw have joined us. Thank you guys for coming. Mike will be very pleased. Okay. We had Father Gaddy from Xavier here yesterday. We had they had the big banquet at the hall. And okay, Margaret. Okay, Ellen, if you need a seat, we'll fit you in. Okay. See what we got over here. Scanning the crowd. Hey, this is the 4th Regiment. Some honors students here, including this guy.
I'll be down in seconds. Stay with me.
Okay. It is. We are in the stadium. And there is 53 minutes to starting time. Aunt Donna has arrived.
We're here.
Hello, guys. Hello. Okay, so Aunt Donna, you guys are up in section EE.
I lose every time.
There they are. Uncle Abby, Susie, Lori.
Okay.
The fashion models are here. There they go. Hello, my dear.
Hi. Well, congratulations.
Okay, so there's my dad and my brother. And there's an officer thanking my father for his service in the Korean War.
Your mother's walking, Mike. For the whole wheelchair thing. She's walking.
They wouldn't let Diana. They had to have an official handicap plastic thing on the mirror.
Oh, because they had 2 cars. Right. And they thought they were going to get the second car.
My name is on the account too.
Okay, there they are. Fantastic.
Where's Tommy?
He's obviously in.
I'm going to go down there.
Okay, cadet is kind of chasing him out, or maybe trying to find him a chair. Oh man, here we go. Alex Mumji is down there. Mom, how you doing? Okay, Dad, I can see you. Don't worry about turning around. Nice hat you got there. Nice. Hello, Gregory. How you doing, kid? Great to see you, buddy.
So you have no problem.
Nice. So, Rich, you have a seat over there? Is that your seat? Nice. Nice.
Because they're worried about us cutting into the hat toss there.
Right, okay, that is a problem.
Right.
So they're going to have to probably move it over a little bit.
Yeah, we're right behind Dad.
Okay, terrific.
So,
And I saw some officer shaking Dad's hand.
and so is there a concession area or something back here?
Thank you, Cadet. Great, much appreciated. There he is. Hello, Dad. How you doing? Great. I am very happy you made it. I was getting worried.
I made you stand next to your husband. Mike, I don't know.
There we go.
Where's Freya?
I got my camera.
Nice.
Nice.
Where's Fran and Kathy? Where are Fran? We have seats.
What?
Well, they wouldn't let Tom in.
Yes, he'll be coming in over here.
I don't know. I don't know if he's even here yet.
Did you get a program? Okay. This cadet is showing my father the program where his grandson, Michael Richard Nielsen, is listed in it, receiving an Honor Society Award. There's my mom. 47 minutes away from the start. Here they are. Maureen has arrived with Nadine. She's loving this early morning thing. We're going to be down at that stadium. Hi, Mom. Okay, got Joey Munda over here checking out. Donna and Abby, we're sitting up front over here. And Lori and Susie, let me go up. Friend of the Calhouns have to be added to the video. Okay, there you go. You're with the Illinois Parents Club? Fantastic. Is this more of the contingent over here? Nice. Okay, guys, I'm going up to embarrass some family now. Okay. There's a cheering squad I know I can count on. Thanks, guys. You're looking terrific. This should be like a magazine cover or something. Okay, say that again. Thank you, thank you.
We're going to be arrested.
Except I'm losing a little bit of hair here. Patrick and Ryan chatting it up. Father Gaddy and Colonel Campbell behind them. Okay, I'm going to try to get the whole program now. Okay, they're almost ready to come in.
United States Military Academy Class of 2011.
Here they come. Okay, so the 3rd and the 4th Regiment are coming in here. And I will have good shots of them. See all the parents trying to get that picture. To try to keep it steady. On the right side. The 3rd and the 4th regiments come in from the right. hard to keep this steady. Looks like the 3rd regiment just about in. So the 4th should be starting soon. cadets, sorry. It's going to be hard to see into that shade. Okay, so there we go. Up there.
Well, my mom, yeah, my dad. Thank God. Hearing all that stuff. That's the one down near Highland Falls. Yeah, correct. Highland Falls. Summer place. I don't know what the jobs are. Does your cousin, yes, she does. They've known each other for almost 7 years.
Okay.
My brother was stationed in his last assignment.
There we go. There we go. We got family. Look at this crowd. They are packed.
Today, the West Point class of 1961 will present commemorative second lieutenant bars to members of the class of 2011. As they take their place in the long gray line, the class of 1961, having just celebrated its 50th class reunion here at West Point, has developed a special relationship with the class of 2011. Since the summer of 2007, the members of the class of 1961 have engaged with and supported the class of 2011, participated in special events that mark a cadet's West Point experience. The West Point tradition of bonding and mentorship between these two classes culminates today when the class of 1961 presents a set of second lieutenant bars engraved with 61-11 to each graduate. The representatives of the class of 1961 presenting the bars today all have distinguished records of service to the armed forces and the nation during times of war and in peace. They are seated to the south of the dais. Let me introduce them to you. Secretary R. James Nicholson. General George A. Jowan, U.S. Army retired. General Edward A. Brown, III, U.S. Army retired. Lieutenant General Edwin S. Leland, Jr., U.S. Army retired. Gentlemen, we welcome you to this graduation ceremony. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, and the members of the class of 2011, just as the long gray line represents the connection of all cadets throughout the Academy's history, today's faculty processional recognizes the dedication of academic excellence of all United States Military Academy faculty, both past and present. Ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome representatives of the faculty of the United States Military Academy.
It's already been half drunk by me.
Sergeant Garcia heading that way.
Okay, there's got to be some dignitaries coming in soon. Okay, there's Dad. He has his jacket off. So there's Mom, Richie.
It's a beautiful song. Yeah,
You can see the clock is counting down. There's a minute 30 left for something. seconds remaining to enter the stadium. Seconds remaining.
It's almost like you heard who they're playing? They're playing Sacramento. Is that true? I heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the dais our distinguished guests to include the Commandant of Cadets, the Dean of the Academic Board, members of the Academic Board, and other senior academy leaders.
Army's Golden Knights, premier regiments.
Cuando vaya a la República Dominicana, sí, estábamos esperado de mi hermano, pero para que Costa Rica se pusiera cualquier cosa que tuviera así no te quedaría aquí. Así aproximadamente. Dame tu número. Ah, bien. 732 766. Llámame porque es que yo tengo un montón de números. Sí. Está bien, debe ser para celular. Ahora sabe que hay que mira tu abrigo. O lo dejas, no te lo vayas.
Seamus is playing against BYU. Seamus on the same field.
Yeah. And that's
BYU. And you can also get his name on.
The 21st Secretary of the Army, the Honorable John McHugh, and the 15th Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, Lieutenant General David H. Huntoon, Jr. and remain standing for the invocation by Chaplain Mike Durham.
May we pray. O God, our Creator, thou searcher of human hearts, we rejoice in the happiness of this day that you have made. For truly this is the day that all who have gathered here have worked and waited for ever so patiently. Thank you for joining us in our celebration, for bringing meaning and purpose to all of life. We welcome you, O God, as our special guest. Smile upon these who sit before you in gray and white, soon to be dressed in army blue. Grant them the gifts of precious memories, lasting friendships, and a sense of pride and accomplishment, even as they anticipate all that is before them. Give them faith to be strong and courageous, put purpose in their days, and keep their future bright with hope. Lead them to use wisely all they have learned, helping them to make our world a better place. Bless all who have come today with wonderful moments of well-earned celebration, peace, and joy, as they experience all that is good on this, their graduation day. Keep in your care, we humbly pray, these and all those who have answered the special call to service in our nation's military. It is our prayer in your most worthy name and in the confidence of your love for us. Amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the 58th Superintendent of the United States Military Academy, Lieutenant General David H. Huntoon, Jr.
Well, good morning on this magnificent day. Welcome to this graduation and commissioning ceremony for the West Point class of 2011. I'm going to begin with a very special welcome to the families of our graduating class. Your unwavering support has sustained these cadets over these past 4 years. Thank you so much. Now let me take a minute to recognize our distinguished guests here on the dais. First, our graduation speaker, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike G. Mullen. The Secretary of the Army, the Honorable John M. McHugh. And also our United States Congressman, United States Representative Dan Hayworth, 19th District of New York. Our former Congressman and a longtime friend of the Academy, the Honorable Ben Gilman. And from the New York State Legislature, we are joined by Senator Bill Larkin, and Assemblywoman Nancy Calhoun. To the class of 2011, we have a special regard and respect for this class. On the 2nd of July, 2007, we stood, along with so many of your families, on reception day and watched as you raised your right hands and took your initial oath of service to the Constitution of the United States. In the past 4 years, you have met every challenge to become the leaders of character that our Army and the nation must have in these perilous times. On this day, you will assume the mantle of commissioned officer leadership. You will accept the responsibility and the privilege of leading American soldiers. You are well prepared. You have acquired a broadly based and rigorous education designed to overcome the uncertainty and complexity of undefined battlefields. In your service, you may encounter mortal danger, disappointment, and tough ethical challenges, but you will deal with all those challenges in the same way that West Point graduates have done since 1802, with the power of your intellect, your critical thinking, as well as your arms, and all in accordance with the enduring leadership values that mark our profession. We could not be prouder of your success here at West Point, nor more confident of your bright future. Good luck and Godspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce your guest speaker, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen. Admiral Mullen is the highest ranking officer in the United States Armed Forces and the President's principal military advisor. Prior to this duty, Admiral Mullen served as the 28th Chief of Naval Operations. 3 months after graduating from the United States Naval Academy in 1968, Ensign Mullen reported aboard the destroyer USS Colette, where he deployed to the Western Pacific and participated in combat operations off the coast of Vietnam. Over the course of his career at sea, he served aboard 6 other warships, 3 as the commanding officer. And as an admiral, he commanded the USS George Washington Carrier Strike Group and the United States Second Fleet. He has also served as the commander of NATO's Joint Force Command Naples, leading the alliance's peacekeeping operations in the Balkans and its training mission in Iraq. As the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mullen has devoted extraordinary attention and effort in support of the United States Army. I know firsthand of his exceptional commitment to our soldiers deployed in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and those here in the United States. He has visited our troops in theater and at our bases in the United States time and time again. He knows the challenges and the selfless sacrifice of soldiers and their families. He is a fierce advocate for the best care of our wounded, and he and his wife Deborah have spent countless hours visiting them at Walter Reed and Bethesda, at Landstuhl, and at Brooke Army Medical Center, and in the field hospitals in theater. He has often stood the final honors at Dover Air Force Base when our fallen have returned, and is a frequent visitor to their final resting place at Arlington National Cemetery. He is no less a passionate supporter of the families of those who gave their all. Admiral Mullen balances a devotion to and a support for the United States Army and for all of our services which speaks to his strategic competence and the bedrock integrity of this values-based senior leader. Class of 2011, please join me in a warm welcome for your graduation speaker, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike G. Mullen.
Good morning, and thank you, General Huntoon, for your kind introduction. And for all you and the faculty and staff here have done to set these young women and men on a course of service to our nation. Your influence reaches well beyond the classroom and far beyond today. Thank you, each of you, for your service. Secretary McHugh, members of Congress, distinguished visitors, proud families, and friends, thank all of you for being here. I also would like to thank Vice President Biden, who actually gave me a chance to be here today. He graciously bowed out to allow me to speak. To the members of the 50-year class of 1961, who've been so supportive to these future young officers, I welcome you. And I must say, the more senior I get, the younger the 50-year classes start to look. In fact, the class of 61 may be the youngest and best looking of all until next year. Most importantly, good morning to the class of 2011. You made it. Not just to graduation, I mean to the actual ceremony. I'm fairly impressed given the night I bet most of you had and the lack of sleep you've had this week. But let me be among the first to congratulate you. You've earned this day, and it's a very special honor for me and for my wife Deborah to be here with you at the final Service Academy commencement I will attend on active duty. I suspect there are a few folks in Annapolis who are probably not very happy with me right now. But the truth is, in this current job, we have become very close to the Army, as we have worked hard to understand our soldiers and the demands placed on them and their families. In fact, over the last 4 years, one of the greatest privileges of this position has been getting to know the men and women of the United States Army. And days like today remind us why our Army has played such a singular and essential role in our nation's history. In many ways, the story of the United States Army is the story of America. From our founding, through the Civil War, a tumultuous 20th century, and right up until today. In fact, I was thinking this morning about a figure so prominent in that story, someone with whom I can in many ways relate, George Armstrong Custer. I've got to be honest. His story as a cadet isn't too far from my own as a midshipman. And for the underclassmen in the audience, no, Custer and I did not know each other personally. I went to school in the 60s, but not the 1860s. Just as my performance at that other academy was, shall we say, less than ideal, I was then and remain proud that I actually had a class ranking. Custer's record at West Point left something to be desired as well. A review of conduct records at the time, and they do keep track of those things, suggests he had marginal study habits and a proclivity for petty offenses, scoring demerits for being late to formation, hair out of rags, and my personal favorite, throwing snowballs, for which he logged 3 demerits. I have to admit I beat Custer in this department, having racked up 115 demerits in a single day during my last year. What happened actually back then remains highly classified. that's another nice thing about being chairman, you can actually do that. But let's just say my offense was a little more serious than throwing snowballs. So yes, I've walked the area a few times. To be honest, there were times when I owned the area. I could have built condos if I'd wanted to. Let's face it, Custer and I probably could have used some amnesty back then. So today, on behalf of the Commander-in-Chief, I have the chance to grant amnesty to all of you. I hope that's not all who need it. While I'm certain this applies to only the tiniest fraction of the cadets here, amnesty is for those on restriction for minor offenses. And I will, of course, defer the definition of minor to the Commandant. Now, Custer graduated last in his class, the GOAT. That's the same as Navy's mascot. What's up with that? Anyway, I finished 611 out of 836. Unfortunately, I didn't have Sedgwick spurs to spin. I don't know what Custer's excuse was. I just hope our stories end differently. If my record in school said anything, it was, Mullen, you are really going to have to work hard in the Navy. And I did. And the opportunities this life of service has provided far exceeded anything I ever expected. I've quite simply had the chance to work with some of the best people in the world, gaining friends and mentors who have supported me and enriched me. None of us get to where we are on our own. There's always someone who helped make it happen. So as proud and happy as you future graduates are, you ought to remember those who got you here. Your moms, dads, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and other family members. Thank you for raising these fine women and men in small towns and large cities all over this country. Indeed, all over the world. I ought to mention the 10 graduates here from 10 other countries. Thank you for what you do and for your nation, that you do for your nations. You instilled in your kids a desire to serve, a willingness to sacrifice and to suffer, and I'm not just talking about mechanical engineering class. 4 years ago, you drove them through the Stony Lonesome Gate on our day, and you handed them over. Doesn't reception sound nice and inviting? You said, here, take my child in this time of war. Teach them how to lead and how to fight. Teach them how to be good public stewards and good leaders to good soldiers. It was a brave thing you did, and difficult. Though it was probably more difficult driving away. As the parents of 2 Naval Academy graduates, my wife Deborah and I know that feeling well. The pride, the fear, the incredible elation of returning home and knowing you won't have to pick up dirty socks off the bathroom floor anymore, or scrape pizza cheese off the inside of the microwave, or jump in the family car only to find the gas on E. So as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but mostly as a dad, I'd like to ask all the family members of the class of 2011 to please stand and be recognized. Now today, of course, is really all about you, the class of 2011, and you too deserve a lot of credit. When this country was attacked on 9/11, most of you were just 11 or 12 years old, getting your braces off, getting yelled at for leaving dirty socks on the bathroom floor. We've been at war nearly half your young lives, yet all of you made a choice freely to serve your country, to come here to West Point. Well, all of you except maybe Cadet Stuart Huntoon, the soup's son, also graduating today. With 2 brothers serving and a general for a dad, I'm not sure how much flexibility Stuart really had. It's probably fair to say that conscription is alive and well in the Huntoon house. Anyway, your choice, your commitment speaks well not only of your character, but also of your courage. And for that, I deeply respect and thank each of you. Today, you become a commissioned officer in the ranks of the most respected military on earth. The vast majority of you heading into the Army, the very center of gravity of our force. It's an Army tempered by 10 years of combat, an expeditionary force that has literally rewritten just about every rule and every scrap of doctrine it follows to adapt to the reality it now faces. It's an Army, and not a much bigger Army than it was on September 11th, that's now organized around brigade combat teams instead of divisions, that deploys more modular and more flexible capabilities than ever before, that can kill the enemy swiftly and silently one day, and then help build a school or dig a well the next. It's an Army that understands the power of balance as well as bullets, and culture as well as conflict. An Army that has surged to the fore of our national consciousness, not by being a bulwark, but rather by being an agent of change. It's an Army of flesh and blood, an Army of young men and women like yourselves who signed up willingly to face danger and to risk their lives for something greater than those lives. Your job is to lead them, and lead them well. That's what they expect of you. Actually, it isn't a job at all. It's a duty. And for those of you who have no prior service, let me tell you, you're going to be awestruck at the manner in which these young soldiers do their duty every single day. A couple of years ago, I visited a unit high atop a hill in the Korengal Valley in Afghanistan. You stand up there and you look at the utter desolation of the place and the Spartan conditions these young people are living in, and you can't help but get a little thick in the throat. I awarded a Silver Star to a young officer at that outpost, Captain Greg Ambrosia, class of 2005. He earned that medal for actions to safety, placing himself in the line of fire. Under his lead, they repelled the opposing force long enough for support to arrive, denying the enemy key terrain.
Patrick.
When asked what inspired him to lead like that, he looked down at his boots and said simply, "My soldiers." I know what he means. I spent more time with the Army in my 2 years as chairman than I have any other service, and I know what he means. Those troops had been out there 14 months. They'd seen a lot of tough fighting. They'd lost a lot of good soldiers, good buddies. They knew they were going home soon, but they wanted to point out to me all the places nearby where they could venture, because they had learned about the culture and had figured out how to work with the tribal leaders. When they yelled hooah after the ceremony, it wasn't because they were proud of their new medals. It was because they were proud of the difference they knew they were making together as a team. It's that team that has made possible the success we've seen in Iraq, the progress we are now making in Afghanistan, the support we are providing over the skies of Libya, and the security we ensure around the globe. You're going to be a member of that team. You're going to be expected to support and encourage and to lead that team almost from day one. And that's a tall order and hard enough all by itself. But today I'm going to give you another assignment. I'm going to ask you to take on yet another duty, an obligation far more complex and yet just as important as small unit leadership. I'm going to ask you to be a statesman as well as a soldier. I'm going to ask you to remember that you are citizens first and foremost. This great republic of ours was founded on some pretty simple ideas. Simple, but enduring. And one of them is that the people, through their elected representatives, will, as the Constitution stipulates, raise an army and maintain a navy. The people will determine the course the military steers, the skills we perfect, the wars we fight. The people reign supreme. We answer to them. We are therefore and must remain a neutral instrument of the state, accountable to our civilian leaders no matter which political party holds sway. But we can never forget that we too are the people. We too are voters and Little League coaches and scout leaders and crossing guards, or at least we should be. We too have an obligation to preserve the very institutions which preserve us as a fighting force. As George Washington so eloquently put it, when we assumed the soldier, we did not lay aside the citizen. And so it is not enough today that we deploy. It is not enough today that we fight. It is not enough today that we serve, unless we serve also the greater cause of American self-government and everything that underpins it. Self-government is not some sweet dish upon which a people may indulge themselves. It requires work and effort, sacrifice and strain. It may at times leave a bitter taste. And because it does, self-government burdens us equally with obligation as well as privilege. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I do not understate the importance of military service, and I am not suggesting that one who serves in uniform has not wholly or without honor rendered the nation her due. Quite the contrary. I have been to the field hospitals. I have been to Dover. And I've seen good men and women laid to rest at Arlington. I know well the full measure of devotion that so many have paid. And some of them have come from the long gray line, like First Lieutenants Chris Gokey, Sal Corman, and Robert Collins from the class of 2008. And most recently, First Lieutenant Darren Hidalgo, class of 2009. Darren was hit by shrapnel in early February, but declined surgery to his left leg, opting instead for antibiotics and pain meds so he wouldn't be sidelined from his soldier. He joked with his dad on the phone about setting off metal detectors. 16 days later, Darren was killed by an anti-tank mine. The 81st graduate in these wars to be added to the somber roll in Cullom Hall. Many of you knew and respected Darren, especially the guppies he commanded, and those who faced him on the racquetball court. He came from a proud military family. His dad, an 81 grad, his oldest brother, class of 2006, currently serving his 4th tour in Afghanistan, and another brother, a Marine who served twice in Iraq. Yes, you all understand quite well the sacrifices demanded by military service. What I am suggesting is that we in uniform do not have the luxury anymore of assuming that our fellow citizens understand it the same way. Our work is appreciated, of that I am certain. There isn't a town or a city I visit where people do not convey to me their great pride in what we do. Even those who do not support the wars support the troops. But I fear they do not know us. I fear they do not comprehend the full weight of the burden we carry or the price we pay when we return from battle. This is important because a people uninformed about what they are asking the military to endure is a people inevitably unable to fully grasp the scope of the responsibilities our Constitution levies upon them. Were we more representative of the population, were more American families touched by military service like that of the Hidalgos or the Huntoon families, perhaps a more advantageous familiarity would ensue. But we are a small force, rightly volunteers, and less than 1% of the population, scattered about the country due to base closings and frequent and lengthy deployments. We're also fairly insular, speaking our own language of sorts, living within our own unique culture, isolating ourselves either out of fear or from perhaps even our own pride. The American people can therefore be forgiven for not possessing an intimate knowledge of our needs or of our deeds. We haven't exactly made it easy for them, and we have been a little busy. But that doesn't excuse us from making the effort. That doesn't excuse us from our own constitutional responsibilities as citizens and soldiers to promote the general welfare in addition to providing for the common defense. We must help them understand, our fellow citizens who so desperately want to help us. As the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Omar Bradley once said, "Battles are won by the infantry, the armor, the artillery, and air teams, by soldiers living in the rains and huddling in the snow. But wars are won by the great strength of a nation, the soldier and the civilian working together." It's not enough that you graduate from here and learn your skill and lead your troops. You must also help lead your nation, even as second lieutenants. You must win these wars, yes, by working alongside civilians and with other departments of our government, with international forces, contractors, and non-governmental agencies. But you also must win them at home by staying in touch with those of your troops who leave the service, by making sure the families of the fallen are cared for and thought of and supported, by communicating often and much with the American people to the degree you can. Today's operating environment, as you've learned, is a dynamic landscape that grows more interconnected and interdependent every day. Yet we still struggle to make the most basic of connections, the relationships that matter so much. As you go from here, please seek also to go beyond the technical knowledge you've gained and broaden your views. Try to see things through others' eyes and leverage every opportunity to better understand and to be better understood. Know that our trust and confidence go with you. The American people go with you. We are grateful for who you are and all that you will do for the Army, and shoulder to shoulder with your fellow citizens for the nation and for the world. Thank you for your service. May God bless each and every one of you and your families, and may God bless America.